the position itself is not indicative of its moral compass. It's the individual in the position. How many business owners that you know that are not nice, steal, rob? I
Yeah.
mean, I've heard time and time again, the rich people are the ones who hardly pay their bills.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
You know why 90% of startups on the company fail in the first 2 years is, I think, exactly because of this concept that you described, right? Right, and the founder create the company, finding the principle of company, they recreate a job for themselves in the form of a company. And I saw so many founders that, I listen to them sometimes regarding to sales and marketing. And when you talk to them, I said, look, we need to increase sales and marketing, or we have to go out and sell the product. And the founder said, no, this is not my job. And I'm looking at them and said, what do you mean this is not your job? Everything is your job. This
Yeah.
is the company. What do you think that this is? You're not corporate that you have a job, and if somebody come to tell you do something, you say this is not my job. So most of them also move from corporate and they want to
There's,
do
yeah,
do
they have
business.
that mind
Now
frame.
they continue with that behavior without understanding that the dynamics are completely different, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm the same way. Like, listen, I eat,
How
breathe,
about you?
survive.
You tell me what's your message for people in corporate that want to transition to entrepreneur? Because a lot of people listening this podcast, they are see, oh, I wish that I have the courage of Dennis. Look at him. He has his own company. He's selling in Belize. He has his own future. I'm here in the corporate. I would love to have my own company and do the same. So tell us what is the good, the bad, and the ugly of this transition from corporate to entrepreneur. And if it's for
Well, I
everybody.
don't have a lot of corporate, I've done some corporate stints. I have a couple of corporate stints because of just life transitions, but here's what I will say. Here's what I've noticed people that were corporate trying to start a company. You need to practice the discipline of not having a safety net because usually that's the very thing that keeps them from jumping out is, well, I got this base, it's 120,000 a year, and then you can't count my insurance and my matching on my 1K. That's like almost $200,000 a year. And I mean, I got to replace that before I even think about doing anything. You're not going to do anything. You need because the risk reward, it's like anything else, right? If I invest into high risk, I expect a high reward from it. If it was safe, then it wouldn't have a high reward. And so what happens is people want the reward without any of the risk. And like, let me give you an example. So I had a business partnership. So I was corporate for 4 years, really because my kids were teenagers. Then 2018, stepped away from that. I could tell that corporate company just I didn't want to be there anymore, and I stepped into a sort of a partnership agreement with the guy. Basically said, listen, you're doing under $1 million a year, you got this SEO company for lawyers, I could take you 4 or 5 million pretty easy. Give me 5 years. If we're not doing at least 3 million, then or whatever, give me a third of the company or you can buy me out. And he's like, okay. So 5 years later, we come to the end of the contract. He chooses the buyout. We're doing 5 million. We've gone from 78 clients to over 300 clients, from less than $1 million to over 5 million. But he had somebody in his ear telling him, well, that guy built the sales processes and he built everything out. You don't need him anymore. I was like, okay, that's fine. 5 months away from my wedding, I had to look at my now wife and say, hey, that money I was making that allowed us to move to this island and just kind of, the thing I was doing and how things were going great, that's gone. So was there a temptation to just like get on and find like a remote job closing where I K base and da 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 da? But my wife looked at me and said, I trust you. And I was like, that's all I needed. And within a month, I had everything put in place for the concept. We were building the background. We launched May 1st. And like I said, here we are almost 2 years later. And so that was a huge risk. 5 months from my wedding, if I didn't make another dime, that wasn't going to be a very pleasant wedding if it happened at all. Right? So there's a lot of risk, and most entrepreneurs have a tolerance for risk that is so much greater than people who want to be entrepreneurs. And I call them wantrepreneurs, right? They love the idea. It's like, listen, I'd love to be an NBA player. I'd love to be 6'8", and I'd love to be, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years younger. Okay, 20 years younger. And, dunk and shoot threes from half court and everything else those guys do. I'd love to do that. I want to do that. But it's not a reality for me. And I think some people idealize entrepreneurship because they say, oh, you went on a boat. But you know what they don't see? They don't see me on that boat in my cabin and dealing with, oh, this customer said this, here's how we're going to handle it, taking a call. They don't deal with that. They don't deal with, I was 3 months into my company. All of a sudden, Stripe said, oh, you're a marketing agency? We didn't realize that. We're freezing your account. And I had about $50K that was supposed to hit in the next couple of days to cover my payroll.
Wow.
They don't see those sort of things.
Wow.
What they see is they see the sailboats, not the Stripe stop, right? And so there's always risk and reward with entrepreneurship. And so I would say to people who are sitting in a safe place, I would say you need to build up your tolerance for risk. Because until you have that tolerance for risk, you're going to dip your toe. Well, I'll try 2 hours a week to do that. And if it doesn't take off and make me $1 million in 3 days, then I probably am not going to do it. No, are you going to jump out with no net, no security, and you're just going to say, come hell or high water, if I have to work 90 hours a week, I'll do it. I'll do what I have to do to make this thing happen. And that's most entrepreneurs. When you started, whatever you started, like you said, with the property stuff in London, man, what am I going to do? I can't just work to make nothing. Let me try this. You jumped out. When you jumped out, did anybody put a bunch of money in your account and say, hey, Harry, don't worry about it. If this fails, you're still going to be good? No one did that for me.
I need to borrow the money from the bank.
Yeah, exactly.
$3,000 they gave me, and I'm thinking if I lose this money, it would take me 10 years to pay because I was making so little.
Exactly. So there was a risk, and
Huge.
it came with that great reward. And that reward was that 650 that you didn't have access to before. And that's most entrepreneurs. We have learned to build the muscle of risk. We have learned to walk the tightrope, if you will, with no net underneath. We have learned that it is, it's much better to make $0 week and $25,000 next week than 1,000 this week and 1,000 next week. But most people would rather have 1,000 this week and 1,000 next week than 0 and 25,000. And I speak that from personal experience.
Benny, so then the other thing, out of the 500 millionaires we interview here, everybody, I haven't found anybody yet that come to this podcast, multimillionaire, that tell me, Harley, I hate marketing, I hate sales, I don't like it. So every millionaire that come here, they love marketing, they love sales, they love branding, they embrace it, they're passionate about. Every time that I ask that question, I can see the eyes shine. Like, Harry, you're not going to believe how I find my first client and the marketing strategy and how I sell it. And I increased my prices and I did that, and they are excited about, right? On the other hand, you go out there and when you say, well, I specialize in marketing branding, they say, oh, that's another salesperson. Well, I like sales and everything. And then we see the reality that 90% of companies are failing in the first two years. So what is your exactly what the stereotype out there? Oh, this is just salesman. Oh, this is just a marketing guy. Oh, this is just an SEO. They are just a salesperson. It's just a salesperson. I hate that a lot.
Yeah.
Without the sales, nothing happens in society. If we don't sell,
nothing happens until something gets sold.
Exactly, nothing moves. So, what is your opinion about this, or why do you think that people dismiss something as important in the core of the companies?
I think there's a couple reasons. One is societal stereotypes. And I think it's, unfortunately, for some of us, it's a bit earned, right? Now, hopefully not for myself. Here's what I teach my team, what I've always said. Good salespeople lie, the best ones don't have to. I only want the best, right? So I think that when we look at sales as the art of lying, then it is easy to dismiss it. But when the way I look at sales and marketing is, it is the art of properly framing things in a way in which they can be understood and accepted. So that is what sales, that is what marketing is to me. It's not taking something that isn't and making it something that is. It's learning what something is and making it obvious and how it benefits. And so I would say to those people who think that way, number one, get over yourself. Like, honestly, if you think you're too good to sell, then you just sit in an office and do whatever you're going to do. You're going to be replaced anyway by something sometime soon. So like for me, I work with lawyers, right? Now, lawyers have a bit of a reputation.
Wow,
right?
They make a lot of money per hour, right?
Well, they make good money, but some people say lawyers are
If
synonymous with
they don't sell,
liars.
they have nothing, right?
But they say they're synonymous with liars, right? Like kind of the American stereotype is that a lawyer is known for like stretching the truth and lying, blah, blah, blah. That's the stereotype. And so I'll have her be dismissive to me and I'll say, hold up. This is the pot calling the kettle black. There are good actors and bad actors in your industry. Do you want me to compare you to every lying, thieving, conniving lawyer in history? Or do you want me to compare you to every successful businessman that was a lawyer that did well? And I demand and feel like it's not unfair to say, hey, look at what I'm doing. I'm being honest about it. I'm delivering what I say. I'm not, if I am providing an honest service, I don't care what it is. If the honest service is a communication style of a service, it still deserves its merit. It still deserves its place. So for people that say, kind of have that sort of like, they look down on people that sell, I mean, it's like, one time I said something to somebody and he was a lawyer and he was just like, oh, you're a scumbag, you sell. This has been years ago. And I said something about how much money I made. And he said, well, prostitutes make a lot of money. That doesn't make what they do honorable, blah, blah, blah. Right. And I was like, true.
Oh, wow.
So like money wasn't the only factor. I was like, I mean, lawyers are tough people. And I just simply said, but what I'm doing isn't illegal. And so number one, number two, I do it in a way where it is not immoral or unethical. So like a scientist can be unethical and immoral and twist the facts and twist he or she might have a world. So the position itself is not indicative of its moral compass. It's the individual in the position. How many business owners that that are not nice, steal, rob?
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard time and time again, the rich people are the ones who hardly pay their bills. Like, oh, that guy you don't want. And, I live on a small island. People get reputations. I'd be like, oh, man, that guy's going, you don't want to mess with. Well, he'll get you in a business deal. And then, you'll kind of be, he's a little shisty. So, like, I think bad actors in every industry.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.